What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to Elevation with Balesa. Today, guys, we've got an interesting topic. The topic is called manipulation. So today's topic is called manipulation, guys. So I just felt the need to actually touch on this topic because I know a lot of people have experienced it, are still experiencing it. Even sometimes ourselves, we have this behavior in which we need to look deep within ourselves and evaluate whether we do these kind of things. So I wanted to touch on it because I know manipulation it's a norm, it's a thing that people experience on a daily basis in our society. So that's what I'm going to unpack. So guys, manipulation is basically a psychological behavior whereby the manipulator wants to change the way in which someone perceives things, understands things, so that the situation can actually work in their favor. So they change the way in which someone sees things, how they understand things, how they perceive things, in an abusive way, in a deceptive way, and in a sneaky way. That is what manipulation is. So now I'm here to unpack the problems in which manipulation can cause. So I'll be unpacking different kinds of problems. So the first one is it causes abuse because the manipulator basically steps over the boundaries of the victim in order for them to get their way, in order for them to change things to work in their favor. Number two, it can cause bullying. It can cause bullying in a sense that the manipulator basically bullies his or her way through the situation towards the victim. Number three, it causes mind games. Mind games in a sense that the manipulator always comes up with tricks in which they can utilize in order for them to actually persuade the victim to agree, to understand whatever it is that the manipulator wants the victim to understand. Number four, it can cause gaslighting. So gaslighting is when someone feels that they are voiceless in whatever connection that they are in. So manipulation can actually cause gaslighting amongst the connection. So the victim can feel like they don't have a voice. They can feel like they don't exist in that connection. Another reason is it can cause peer pressure. Peer pressure in a sense that the manipulator can manipulate the victim to a point whereby the victim will end up second guessing the initial decision that they had in the first place, whereby they'll end up doing something that in the first place they wouldn't have done. But now, because the manipulator managed to maneuver, with words, with gestures towards the victim ends up changing their decision that they made in the first place to favor the manipulator. Another cause that manipulation can generate is mental health problems, depression, high levels of anxiety, overthinking, you know what I'm saying, can cause different types of mental health problems. Another cause is it can cause damages in relationships, and another cause can be distrust. So distrust in a sense that, let's say now the victim is aware that the manipulator actually uses manipulative tactics. It exposes the manipulator to the lies in which they've been, participating in to manipulate the victim. So that then starts causing distrust. So why is it important to teach about manipulation? Number one, it is because manipulation enables crossing boundaries, especially emotional boundaries, in a sense that the manipulator disregards the emotional needs of the victim. They don't care how they feel, what they think, what they have to say, their opinions, the after effects of whatever behavior that the manipulator is doing towards the victim. They don't care about that. So that is it's crossing boundaries of the victim. So it basically causes emotional boundaries to be crossed. Number two, it creates an imbalance of power, meaning in whatever connection, when there's an imbalance of power, there's power struggles, there's conflict, there's uncomfortability between, especially for the victim. So this is between the manipulator and the victim. So it causes all of that, whereby the manipulator feels like he or she is the one that is superior in the connection. It's his way or no way. It's his voice or her voice or no way. Number four, It causes fear of voicing yourself out. So it goes back to gaslighting. So when you are in a manipulation situation, when you're being manipulated, you fear to actually voice yourself out sometimes, especially when it's made a norm in a connection. Like you're scared to come forward and express that you're not happy. You feel voiceless. You feel like you want to disagree with whatever decision is being made here. You fear to voice yourself out, and that is very dangerous. And then another reason why it's important to teach manipulation is it causes low levels of problem solving. So the victim, obviously, they're human, so they're not always at home. They don't always find themselves at home. They work, they've got family, they've got friends, you know what I'm saying? So in those situations in which they find themselves in, they can lack problem solving skills. And having a problem solving skill as a human being is very important, because you'll be able to come up with solutions in whatever problems that you face, whether it's in a daily basis, in your personal life, in your professional life, in your romantic relationship. So when you lack problem solving skills, it's actually very detrimental as to your survival as a human being. So that's one of the reasons why it's important to teach manipulation. Another reason is it teaches people about peer pressure. Peer pressure can cause you to do things that you don't want to do. Peer pressure can cause you to do things that you would never do. Peer pressure would cause you to do things that you would later regret. So it's important to actually teach people about manipulation so that they can avoid peer pressure. Another reason is it causes the victim to frequently apologize, even though they're not wrong. That's actually very, very dangerous. And it's manipulative, because why would you want to apologize for something that you didn't do? Something that you did not do. So it's important to highlight that, so that people are aware not to apologize when they didn't do anything. The manipulator is the one that's supposed to take responsibility for the actions that they do that are bad towards the victim. Another reason is it can cause feelings of confusion, feelings of hurt, feelings of frustration, feelings of anger, feelings of disappointment, just bad negative feelings. Why? Because when you're always being manipulated, obviously that's not going to bring happiness. And you can't voice yourself out, you can't express yourself, you can't actually be open about the mistreatment that you're receiving from the manipulator. So obviously bottling everything up, and you're keeping everything to yourself. So, you feel frustrated, you feel angry, you feel exhausted, because it's energy draining, So that's why it's important to actually teach people about manipulation and teach people to be aware of how they feel when they're being manipulated. Another reason is it can cause bullying, whether it's physical or on the internet, so cyberbullying. So manipulators, they love stepping on people's toes. So that is a form of bullying. So it's important to be aware of manipulation, so that people can avoid situations whereby they are bullied. So these are some of the reasons in which highlights why we need to teach each other, teach the community, teach society, why it's important to know what manipulation is, so that you don't find yourself in this kind of situation. So now, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to dissect the mask of manipulation. So in order for manipulation to take place, there has to be two things. There has to be the manipulator, then there has to be the manipulatee, or the victim. So there has to be the manipulator, the perpetrator, or there has to be the victim, the manipulatee. So basically the manipulator will then see the need to actually wear a mask. Because when you manipulate, you're wearing a mask. To wear a mask towards the victim so that they can change the situation to favor them. So the manipulator always comes with nice gestures. They're always nice, they're always sweet with their words and their behaviors, to blinden the victim not to see whatever true intentions that they have towards the victim. So the manipulator will make sure that they hide the true intentions. Like, they'll work so hard to hide the true intentions in which they have, the hidden agenda in which they have towards the manipulatee, by using nice words, nice gestures, nice behavior, acting all genuine and stuff. But they know that behind the scenes, they actually have hidden agendas towards the victim. So they basically use sneaky tactics. They use abusive tactics. They use disruptive tactics to win the favor, to win the situation towards them, but in a very subtle way in which you won't be able to pick up, So once the sneaky behavior gets exposed, then obviously the trick does not work anymore. So it's important to always just be aware of the behaviors, the subtle movements, the subtle words, the subtle gestures that someone does out of nowhere, when they want something from you. So behaviors to be aware of if someone is manipulating you. Behaviors to be aware of if someone is a manipulator. Number one, they are bullies. They're always bullying, stepping on people's toes. Number two, constant lying. They're always lying. Ixoki, hleza xoka, hleza qamba manga, udula bua maka. You need to be aware of that. Number three, passive-aggressive behavior. Number four, cheating. Number five, immature behavior. Number six, gaslighting. Number seven, peer pressure. Number eight, sneaky behavior. Number nine, drama. Number 10, entitlement. Number 11, boundary crossing, always stepping on your toes, disregarding how you feel. Number 12, disruptions, always coming home, banging doors, throwing things, in the kitchen, just disruptive behavior, that disturbs your peace. Those are the behaviors that you can see that no, someone is actually a manipulator. Why manipulators behave the way they do? Number one, manipulators have a very, very, very high ego. They have pride. So they manipulate their way through things to maintain that pride, to maintain that ego. Number two, they run away from taking responsibilities for mistreating people. So they run away from coming to you, sitting you down and saying, Balisa, I'm sorry. Tiamo, I'm sorry. Tabo, I'm sorry for what I did. They run away from taking responsibility. So they use manipulative tactics to actually run away. It's either they'll reverse the situation and make it seem as if you're the problem so that they can run away from taking accountability. Number three, they may want attention. So have you seen how a small kid, when they want attention from maybe their siblings or their family members, their parents, they throw tantrums. They cry, they throw themselves on the floor, then the parent or the sibling or the family member ends up giving them attention. So it's the same way in which manipulators operate. They use manipulative behaviors to seek attention from whoever it is that they're trying to get attention from. So they behave the way they behave. Another reason is they have hidden agendas, they have hidden motives behind whatever it is that they want to benefit from. Another reason is they come from a dysfunctional family. So for those of you that don't know what a dysfunctional family is, it's basically a family that is unstable. It is unstable mentally, it is unstable psychologically, it is unstable spiritually, it is unstable emotionally. Financially, not so much, but it does count actually in a way. It does count, but it's the last one. But that's what a dysfunctional family is. So the manipulator had to manipulate their way through survival within the family dynamic. So that ended up causing them to be manipulators. Another reason is those with attachment issues, they usually manipulate because they have a problem and a difficulty with letting things be the way they are. So let's say, for example, a couple has been together for 2 years and then their life just starts fading away out of the blue. Cheating starts happening, they both start cheating, the relationship starts getting toxic. They have to break it up because it's not healthy for the both of them, and they both want to be happy. So they need to break up. So one decides to take the initiative to break up with the other, but the other one has attachment issues. So they try and manipulate the situation to work towards their favor. Maybe they'll say, oh, baby, you know what? Maybe we can just give it 1 more year and see if it works out because I'm not ready to let go of you. Meanwhile, they can see that the relationship is kaput. It's finished. There's nothing to hold on to. But because they've got attachment issues, they might end up manipulating the way through the situation. Another reason is people with high levels of anxiety, they tend to manipulate in a way that they they develop sneaky ways, sneaky tactics, disruptive tactics to actually win situations to their favor, just to mask their anxiety. Another reason is those with narcissistic behavior disorders, or narcissists, just to keep it simple, they usually are manipulators. They have manipulative problems. They always step on people's toes. So they always manipulate situations to favor. So solutions with dealing with manipulation: accountability. If, let's say, you're the one that's the manipulator, look at yourself. Look at the situations in which you always find yourself in, whereby you're manipulating other people. Take accountability. Evaluate. If you're wrong, evaluate why you did what you did. And then take accountability by going and apologizing to that person, especially if you've actually mistreated them, hurt them, caused disappointment, just caused disruption, to the victim. Evaluate yourself and go and take accountability by apologizing and never doing it again. Because apologizing without changing is manipulation. So after you apologize, you need to make sure that you do what? You change your behavior. Another way is awareness of manipulative behavior being done to you. So if you're the one that's being manipulated, you need to develop awareness. So know the kinds of tactics, as I explained earlier on in the video. Be aware of the tactics, the behavior, the gestures that manipulators actually do to manipulate the situation. Then you need to be aware of it. When you're aware of it, it's easy for you to break out of it. Another reason is express yourself. Voice yourself out. When you're being manipulated, voice yourself out so that the manipulator can be aware that you're aware that they're manipulating you, so that they can stop, they can change. And if they don't change, you let them know that, look here, if you're not going to change your manipulative ways, I'm out. I'm cutting you out. Because you're causing nothing but disruption. You're disrupting my peace, Another way is self-awareness of own negative behavior. So as I said, if you're the manipulator, evaluate yourself. Be aware of the behaviors that you tend to do, when you manipulate someone. Another way is saying no to peer pressure. Guys, it's okay to say no. You don't have to say yes. When you don't feel like doing something, say no. When you don't feel like participating in something, say no. You've got a right to say no. You don't have to be pressurized to say yes when you know that you don't want to do something. Another reason is be bold enough to take a stance or take a stand against bullying, whether it's physically or on the internet, online, cyberbullying. Be bold enough to stand up for yourself. Another way is understand the motives of the manipulation. So earlier on, I did mention that manipulators usually have hidden agendas, hidden motives. So when you're aware of the motives, then you will be able to deal with manipulation. Another way is set boundaries. Set boundaries with the manipulator so that they don't step on your toes. Because they're definitely going to step on your toes. So if you set a boundary, like, boom, don't cross. Just stay right here, like right here. Don't cross, because if you cross, just let them know. If they cross, just set boundaries, guys. And then another way is show yourself compassion. When manipulation has been like a norm in your life, it becomes difficult when you now start being aware and you start coming up with solutions to fight against it. It can be difficult because you get like backlash. It's difficult for you to deal with. So you need to show yourself compassion, but keep doing the things that you need to do to fight against manipulation. Another way is seek help. Go for therapy, go to a psychologist, go to a trusted family member, a friend, talk to them, get advice. So that's it for me, guys. Please be safe out there, guys. Manipulation is real and it's very detrimental to your mental health. So thank you guys so much for my subscribers. Thank you for the love so far, guys. I really appreciate it. Please stay safe, guys. Manipulation is real. It's really real, and it's detrimental to your mental health. It's detrimental to your well-being. Stay safe, be aware, take the solutions to hand and act upon them. See you next time.